Who does the advancing? Me or you?
You can do it. So this is forward, this is back.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just introducing.
What'd you say?
I'll introduce you and we'll get started.
I still didn't hear.
I'm gonna introduce you and we'll get started.
Yeah.
All right, welcome everybody. We're gonna get started right about now. So we have a great show for you tonight. We have the Erie's Orange Branch by Bill McKelvey. Bill McKelvey grew up along the Orange Branch. In addition to so he has a pretty unique insight into the branch and its operations. Beyond that, Bill's been a very great friend to the Tri-State Railway Historical Society. His group, Liberty Historic Railway, which he serves as chairman of, has funded a number of our projects, including the preservation of M&E number 19 and Hoboken Shore number 700, which we are very grateful to Liberty Historic for helping us with. So without further ado, Bill, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Richie. First of all, I want to thank Richie for, I only have color shows, 35 millimeter slideshows. Richie said, oh, we can't use that. So he took them and Richie scanned them all and put them in PowerPoint. And for that, I thank you, Richie. Richie is the Liberty Historic Railway treasurer. We're very fortunate to have him on our board of directors. I have to be very careful of what I say tonight because we have a very knowledgeable person on the subject in the audience, and that's John Sabodka, who started with the John, wave your hand. Yeah, John started with the Reading, and then went to Conrail, Norfolk Southern.
Jersey Central, then
Oh, okay. And ended up with Norfolk Southern on the Erie Orange Branch. In fact, John ran the last train to service the Harts Mountain customer on the Orange Branch. In fact, I remember one time you said, you stopped the train and said, McKelvey, get on. We're going to go tour the light rail shop at Bloomfield. So I went along with him. Bob Bars used to do that to me too. He'd see me, hey, come on for a ride. One time Bars said, where do you want me to pose the locomotive? So I says, well, yeah, move it 100 feet this way, that way. We have some great rail fans out there. A little disclaimer, some of the memories I have are now 82 years old. I grew up in Bloomfield, moved there when I was about 2. The Lackawanna was 2 blocks away. The Erie Orange Branch was about 5 blocks away. John Sabodka lived basically a block away from the Erie Orange. He could see the Erie Orange Branch from his house, but I didn't. But the Orange Branch was far more interesting. The Lackawanna was sterile. They didn't have any grade crossing guys, just MU trains going back and forth. But the Erie was very interesting line. It had grade crossing, watchmen, towermen, local switch crews, and I could spend time with them and talk with them. So it all starts when I was, I guess, about 2. My mother had a clothesline in the back with a pulley and a harness on me to keep me confined to the backyard. At 2.5, I managed to get out of the harness and walk over to the Lackawanna because they had a steam engine and I could watch it going back and forth, switching the AP Smith Company and the General Electric plant and whatnot. So anyhow, back to the show. This is a 1900 timetable from the Greenwood Lake Division, Erie Orange Branch. Notice the larger type of the Erie Orange Branch. It was only 4 miles long. I think the Caldwell Branch was a couple miles longer, but the Orange Branch was a very, very heavy freight customer for the Erie Railroad. They would pull up 100 carloads of freight every day. And during World War II, it was Saturday and Sunday as well. The switcher at Silver Lake ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That was supposed to make it go?
Yeah.
What am I not pointing in it in the right direction?
There you go.
Okay. I do like that fancy type font on the Orange Branch.
You clicked the other button, Bill.
Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, here you can see the Orange Branch, and I take that back. It looks from this map that the Caldwell branch is slightly smaller, slightly shorter than the Orange Branch.
Might depend on the map's scale.
Pardon?
May not be a scale.
I can't hear you, Tom.
Map may not be at scale.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, they take like. Yep.
Yeah, boy. I'm not having good luck here.
There you go.
Okay, this is the it's a Greenwood Lake train. It's not an Orange Branch train. Looks like there's a baggage, mail car on it that would not have gone up to the Orange Branch. But this is the bridge over the Passaic River and the tower that was right on the east side. That bridge now, in its final years, was welded shut because nothing goes up there that needed to have it open. But it's abandoned. It's all gone. But the bridge is still there. This is the drill coming up into Silver Lake. No, it isn't. That's out. This is east of Forest Hill with the signal there on the right-hand side. This is the tower at Silver Lake, at Forest Hill. This governed the trains on the Greenwood Lake as well as the trains on the Orange Branch. And just to the left of the tower, you can see the Tiffany jewelry plant. There's the Forest Hill sign, station sign, that was saved by Pete Hasler, and he donated it to the Friends. We have it safely stored away in one of the containers at Phillipsburg. This is the Tiffany plant, and the gentleman on the left is Tom McConkey, a very nice guy. He used to operate the tower at Forest Hill. He used to operate the tower at Bloomfield Avenue, OF Tower. The tower at Forest Hill was OJ. He passed away a couple of years ago, but passed on a lot of information to me about the branch. This is they had an Operation Lifesaver that came down from the Morristown and Erie, came down the Booton line and passed the Tiffany plant on its way to back into the Orange Branch. This is Forest Hill, and I believe this is the last day. The train is running around the two passenger car. The locomotive is running around the two passenger cars heading back up to West Orange. What they would do, the train would come out of Jersey City and make the run all the way up to West Orange, run the engine around, run it back down to Forest Hill, and then from Forest Hill make the second run out to West Orange. This is the URHS Lehigh Valley units. Now gone, sold off to somebody's got them, but they were in very bad shape. They had been heavily vandalized. But this is in Branchbrook Park with the cherry blossoms. And the reason they were there, it was the Cherry Blossom Festival at Silver Lake. And that's why the equipment was run there. Here's the Lackawanna baggage car. The Conrail on the left is the Conrail theater car. Yeah. and on the right is the URHS RDC car. So Erie Orange Branch had doodle bugs, and they also had a RDC that went up on the line as well. This is Franklin Avenue in Belleville. To the right is the terminus of the Newark City subway. This is now out of service. It's all been abandoned. I'm clicking 2 times here. I'm sorry, I have to go back. Yeah, here's the RDC car. I have to do a very light click, not a heavy click. This is Erie Lackawanna. Actually, it's Conrail days with the locomotives still lettered for Erie Lackawanna. I had an arrangement with the apartment house there. I guess it was about 12 stories tall. That I walked in with my safety helmet on, my reflective vest, and my clipboard. And I says, "Where's the manager?" I says, "I need to go up on the roof and take some photographs to document the construction." Okay. So the first time he set me up with the with the maintenance guy, and beyond that, I just show up and they say, "Oh yeah, you know how to go up there." The problem with the roof is there were no parapet on the roof, and you had to get close to the edge of the roof to take the pictures. I don't like heights, but you know, we got them. We got the photos. The light rail was constructed, the connection to Bloomfield and the vehicle base facility was constructed just to the left of the Orange Branch and went up and connected with it. This is PCC car number 13, and it is at the Cherry Blossom Festival at Silver Lake. I think we got another picture or two of that car. Yeah, here it is being unloaded. New Jersey Transit just happens to have a tractor trailer unit that has rails on the bed of the trailer, and they brought it over from the city subway just for the day. Oh, interesting. This is number 22. The other photo is number 13. It was different years. Number 13 is the PCC car that is at Booton Yard that's shrink wrapped. That car has a fatal flaw. It will probably never operate again. When Star Trek was cutting out the steel with like a cyber knife torch, they cut right through the cable bundle, the main cable bundle for all the control cables right near the operator, cut right straight through it with a torch. So that's probably dead for all ever. Come on. Just beyond the bus is the crossing in, appropriately named. The night shift of the railroaders would go in there for dinner or whatnot, and they would come out and start working after the bar closed. And I remember on summer nights when they were switching cars, and there was huge crashes when they were kicking cars from one track to the other. And in fact, one day there was a guy that got killed there doing that kind of work. Oh, come on. Come on. I took this just to show you the problem with putting trolley cars on railroad track. That is a PCC car wheel. It's a rubber sandwich that makes the car very resilient. Sound and vibration doesn't travel up into the car. And you can see that the tread on the PCC car wheel is only about 2 inches wide, whereas a railroad tread 5.5 inches. And so you have to be extremely careful with gauge when you run trolley cars on railroad track, because they can drop right in between the gauge if the gauge is a little wide. On the right, ahead of the wheel, is the track brake. That's a big, long, about 3 foot long magnetic brake. when it's applied, it goes down and clamps to the rail and really helps to stop these PCC cars very quickly. Ah, damn it. This is, I guess, number 22. Yeah, it's crossing in there on your right. Jesus Christ. Here it is sitting right on Franklin Street, and they're getting ready. They set up vendor tables and whatnot all along the street. This is a harbinger of things to come. These cars will later travel across this crossing when the PCCs are finished operating in the city subway, and all the new light rail cars will enter the city subway this way. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is looking out the cab of the PCC car. This is looking, on your left is the crossing in, and straight ahead is Silver Lake Yard. This is one of the new light rail vehicles. They were all trucked up from Harrison by Super. They had an assembly facility in one of the old Guyon steel buildings in Harrison. Those buildings are all gone. They're all demolished. But it was interesting to follow them up Bloomfield Avenue and into the yard where they were unloaded by Silk Road did all the moves. Night shot with the Conrail locomotive and crossing into the left of the locomotive right at Franklin Street. This is Silver Lake Yard in the latter years. Not much freight. You know, like I say, there were 100 cars a day that came up here in the earlier days. Erie Orange Branch is very interesting to me, especially. It had 14 retail coal yards in 4 miles. And that's in addition to the ramp that Edison plant had, a ramp with a coal bunkers up there that they could unload a couple of cars at a time. The plant had an amazing array of industry. The railroaders in the 50s called it the $1 million a year line because of the volume of freight traffic. Besides that, they had at the end, there were 2 round trips a day, 4 trips, passenger trips as well. Yeah, we saw that already. I remember the steam locomotives that operated there. This is just immediately west of Bloomfield Avenue. The track in the foreground goes off to where the American La France built a truck manufacturing plant right on the Orange Branch, and that's why the street that's near it is named La France Avenue. I lived right near La France. The Erie yard workers came over and drove those trucks over to the Erie freight yard, and they had a concrete ramp. They drove them right up and loaded them on flat cars. Didn't last long. That was in the Depression era, and then it became Edison, not Edison, but the battery works for General Motors. And during World War II, they were a war manufacturing plant. Here's Erie Lackawanna caboose, and these vacant areas in front of the locomotive, they were all factories at one time. Edison had a number of factories in this area. His battery plant was in Silver Lake. Conrail days again, snow. Again, this track in the foreground leads into the freight house and the team tracks that were at the Bloomfield Freight House, which fronted right on Bloomfield Avenue. All gone now. It's shopping center. In the background is the General Motors Chevrolet export packing plant. They brought in boxcars of parts from all over the country, crated them up in these huge wooden crates, put them on gondola cars, and brought them down to Weehawken and put them on freighters to go to Europe, South America, Africa, and all over the world, to assembly plants to build General Motors cars. This is the freight house on Bloomfield Avenue, and the operator was Lifschwitz, was the contractor that gathered up the freight into carloads. And each night they had one express car that came out of here. I'll show you how that works in a minute. Lovely building. I wonder who got the Erie diamond there, but it's all gone. It's part of the shopping center now. Toward the end, they would park the switcher that worked Silver Lake Yard at the back of the freight house. I think they could plug it in and keep the crankcase warm by plugging it into electric here. This is in the final days of Conrail, where Norfolk Southern is getting ready to take over. And in between the two locomotives is all where the General Motors Chevrolet plant was, all demolished, all gone. This is the Bakelite plant is in the back. Bakelite had a research laboratory right here on Grove Street, very near Bloomfield Avenue. On the left side of the locomotive was the station for the commuters for the Erie Orange Branch. But that Bakelite plant, what remains of it, is on the National Register because of the breakthroughs in plastics that they developed there. And Bakelite was one of the very early plastics. Interesting that Edison developed the records, and they were made out of a plastic material. MGM put a record stamping plant on the Orange Branch, and they would stamp out millions of copies of music on records. This is from the top of the Bakelite. I also had a pass to go in there. I just, oh yeah, go upstairs. And I go up on the roof so I could see the progress of the building of the car barn and the maintenance shop for the Newark Light Rail. This is the vehicle base facility for New Jersey Transit Light Rail at Bloomfield.
So is that Bakelite building still there?
You got to be louder. I can't hear.
Is that Bakelite building still there?
Part of the Bakelite plant is still there. It is owned by the town of Bloomfield, and that is their DPW headquarters. They got rid of the other buildings, so they had parking area to park all their trucks and sweepers and snow plows and everything else. But
I never knew Bakelite was there because their big factory was in Boundbrook.
That's correct. That's correct. The big factory was on Bakerland Avenue in Piscataway, where Kinky Shiro now has their rail car remanufacturing facility, and where the Public Service 2651 trolley is. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is my second broadcast in 2 days. We had a WPIX Channel 11 team did the unveiling of a nice little session on the public service trolley, and that has been broadcasting. It's available on YouTube as well. So anyway, let's progress on here. Now, this is from the same roof, looking a little bit to the right. That's the Orange Branch in the middle. The buildings in the distance, those long, thin buildings, they were put up during World War I by the International Fuse and Ammunition Company. They had thousands of workers that worked in there making fuses for bombs. And they were then, after World War I, were taken over Part of them by General Motors. Their international, their U.S. parts division was right there in the first two buildings, and the others still remain. There's storage building, you know, where you can bring your junk and store it, so you don't have to throw it out. And then to the extreme right was the Charms Candy Plant. That's gone. That was taken down for the shopping center. And that's
what road is that?
what
Road.
the road is. Grove Street.
Oh, Grove.
Grove Street, Bloomfield. To the right is Bloomfield Avenue, and the train is the flagman is out in the middle of Grove Street, getting ready to cross over Grove Street and go back to the Greenwood Lake. Oh yeah, okay. Here's looking a little bit west on the Orange Branch. If you follow the tracks off to the distance, there's one large building that is to the left of the Orange Branch is the General Electric factory. They originally were a part of the Sprague organization, and they manufactured multiple unit controls for subway cars in that building. To the right of that big building, the other larger building in the distance, that's the Westinghouse plant. Westinghouse was also a very good customer. The interesting thing we found out years later about the Westinghouse plant is during World War II, they processed 70 tons of uranium in that plant for the A-bomb in World War II. And the part of the building where they did all that contaminated forever. They demolished the building and paved it over with asphalt, but that's it. You can't ever build anything on that property. It's done for.
Bill, was the tungsol plant, would it be in that picture there?
Very hard to see. That one big brick building, I'm not sure. I'm not positive. You have to look at an aerial map. I think we may have some. So this is the grade crossing of the Orange Branch and the Bloomfield number 29 trolley. They had a tower man here, and you can see to the right of the tower, the little ground shanty. They had a ground man too. The ground man, he would actually, I mean, traffic was very heavy on Bloomfield Avenue. He would have to go out and flag the traffic to get it stopped so they could put the gates down. That tower, this is the diagram my friend Tom McConkey drew me of the levers that were in. It was an Armstrong lever tower. There was one for the approach, the signals on semaphore signals on either side, and it controlled a semaphore on the curb of Bloomfield Avenue for the trolley cars, both east and west. And then there was a secondary lever to operate the derails. So the whole thing was an amazing piece of work, but it's all gone. We didn't get an opportunity to save any of it. This is the Orange Branch drill coming across Bloomfield Avenue, and by this time they had put in electric gates, so they went down automatically. But they got whacked quite a few times. And this again is looking the other direction on Bloomfield Avenue, and the little just ahead of the locomotive is a little like a White Castle thing, hamburger joint. That's still there. That's the only thing. It's one of the few things that's still there. And John Sabatka lived on the right-hand side of Bloomfield Avenue, about, I don't know, 800, 900 feet up to the west.
Is that looking north?
This is looking,
Like north?
the locomotive is heading railroad east.
Right.
And so west, Bloomfield Avenue goes west.
Like northwest.
This is the Bird's Hearts Mountain. birdseed, they would bring in covered hoppers full of birdseed, and they would package them. These are part of the Lean and Fink buildings, and when they were building the light rail, this was the only customer on the Orange Branch, so they needed to provide for to get freight cars into that line over the light rail. So they had to put in one new switch up on the Greenwood Lake in Montclair to connect with the Greenwood Lake when they did the bypass through Montclair, the Montclair connection. And then at Forest Hill, they used the switch that was there, and then they went up, and at Silver Lake, they had two switches, and they were spring frogs so that the light rail and the regular heavy rail could go over. So they had, so it's 1, 2, 3, and then they put in 4, 5, a total of 5 brand new switches. Within a couple of years after the light rail got operating, Harts Mountain decided the plant was uneconomical to operate, and they closed it up and moved out, and that was the end of freight service. And John Sabodka ran the last train up to Harts Mountain. And I think it was rail fans that painted up the concrete mile marker, 10 miles to Jersey City from Harts Mountain. John, maybe you're probably the only one that could tell me who these people are. I lost track of them. Is one of them you?
Yeah.
That's you on the right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Jimmy Wharton and Harry Newberg.
Okay. Jimmy Wharton.
The red shirt, and Harry Newberg is the gentleman to the left.
Good, thank you. I have a database of employees that worked on the Orange Branch. There's like 500 individuals. I mean, it was a very busy, there were a lot of crews that worked on the Orange, plus 75 or 80 crossing watchmen and freight house clerks and God knows what. This is the last passenger train down in the evening off the Orange Branch would stop at Westinghouse, and the GP7 on the right would carry up one express car from the Bloomfield Freight Station, and they would pick up one express car from Westinghouse, and they would tag it on to the end of the train. Right where the GP7 is sitting is one of the 2 diamond crossings for freight sidings on the Orange Branch. The other one was up at Edison and West Orange. And you can just barely see in the distance on the left is the General Electric plant. That's now Parkway Condos. Okay, here you can see a little bit of the Westinghouse plant on the side. By this time, it looks like Westinghouse is probably abandoned. They were an incandescent lamp manufacturing plant.
Is that the one that got sold to Phillips or no?
Is it what?
Maybe I'm thinking, I know one of the Westinghouse factories that made light bulbs was sold to Phillips.
It was sold to Phillips. That's correct. That's correct. And Phillips abandoned it. Believe it or not, FTs, an A and a B unit, worked on the Orange Branch, and they did a work train that was employed to demolish. There you can see right above the cab of the FT is the Westinghouse sprinkler tank tower there. This is taken from the Garden State Parkway before it was open. I rode my bicycle up there and took this picture of the commuter train coming in, making a stop at Lawrence Street, Bloomfield. East Orange line is about 500 feet to the right, but that is the General Electric plant on the right, and the Westinghouse plant, the reinforced concrete building in the distance on the left.
Excuse me.
This is a little further west. This,
Wait a second. What do you, excuse me, does anybody drive a blue Toyota? Yeah, the Conrail? It's a sedan.
Yeah,
Sedan?
yeah,
Your plate's U33 EBB?
yeah.
Yeah, I tapped your car.
Oh, great. Okay.
Sorry.
Any damage?
There's more damage on mine than yours. You wanna come take a look?
Yeah, I gotta take a look.
I'm not stopping the program, Tom. This is the commuter train going west, and I'm on the roof of a boxcar at the J.W. Pearson siding. They were originally a coal operator, then they went into building materials, and they're still around as an oil dealer. And the plant on the left is the multiplex concrete block plant. Parts of it are still there, but something tells me it's a ready mix concrete plant now. I was very familiar with this area. My father had a grocery store at Glenwood, the corner of Glenwood Avenue and Dodge Street. And of course, all us kids in the family worked there. And it gave me the opportunity to, you're going to ring the bell on me, Richie?
I'm not ringing anything.
Oh, okay. This is Glenwood Avenue crossing, and in the background is the multiplex cement block plant. And in the foreground, the big silo is a coal silo, one of the 14 coal plants. One of the other major coal plants was off the siding, you see is cut off. That was Feigenspan coal. They had an elevated siding, and they just dropped the coal down into their piles or their trucks below. That site is now the East Orange DPW yard, and they put a roof over the whole thing. So it's a nice convenient spot for them. I used to hang out. Yeah, come on. I used to hang out at this tower. That's the Glenwood Avenue tower, and I would deliver orders back and forth up there, and I would stop by and say that was, I know his first name was Fred, I could think of his last name, but what happened was they broke an end of a rail at the Frog, and I says, can I have that? And he says, yeah. And about 20 minutes later, hey kid, give us that piece again. And they had to put it in while the train went over it. I still have that piece someplace, but these are the guy with the hat right by the tower is the one of the he was the yard master at Silver Lake, and of course he came up to supervise the job, what they were going to do here, and that's the Feigenspan coal spur that goes off to the rear. Notice the gas lights in East Orange. I believe a lot of them are still there. This is Midland Avenue, and a very handsome architecturally gateman shanty at Midland Avenue. And what you're seeing here is, in order to build up the deficits to plead their case for getting rid of the passenger service, they went through and they did all these grade crossings, did them over again, and then like a few months later, the trains were gone. But that's what, and you've seen this other places. I've seen them put in new grade crossings on the Newark branch when the line was already abandoned, but they had the contract, so they did it. On the right-hand side, you can't see it, behind the gate tower is Home Fuel Oil. They actually had a spigot where they could get deliveries of home heating fuel, home heating oil by tank car. I never saw it happen, but the pipe work was there. This is the train with the FTs. demolishing, this is after the passenger service ended, they got rid of all the, because they had to pay tax on all these little structures. So they got rid of them all. Here's one of the towers. They just pulled it over into the gondola and smashed it up. Would have liked to have some of them little cold stoves that they had. And here's the FT work train up at Edison. The big plant in the left background is the Edison West Orange facility. And this was the final customer on the west end of the Orange branch. It was Congdon Lumber, Congodon. And they actually pulled the service, and their last car came in, and they had already, Conrail had already abandoned. So they sent Congdon a letter. Your car is down in the Newark Freight team track. Go down and get it. I think Congdon told them where to go. Congdon is still there. And the West Orange sign was also saved by Pete Hasler, and it's also safely stored at Phillipsburg in one of our containers. This is the end, the bitter end of the Orange branch by St. Mark's Church. And the interesting thing was that the Erie Railroad actually had a freight house about 1.5 miles beyond the West Orange terminus of the passenger trains. And it was on the trackage of the swamp line. And they towed Erie freight express cars out to this isolated freight station, load them, and then the trolley towed them back into the Erie Orange branch. And there was the team tracks there at West Orange. That's all gone. It's office buildings now. You hardly know that the railroad was here.
I have a question for you, kind of related to the map. You know if there's any maps of the area around the Orange branch that would list the factories?
Sure,
show them?
sure. The fire maps, insurance, Sanborn maps. Tom knows all about them, and they're very good, very detailed. I've got some of them. I don't know. Did I mention I'm trying to do a book on the Orange Branch? I got over 450 photos plus maps and all. And I don't know. It's a monumental. Everything's scanned. Everything's ready. They're just waiting for me to put them in order and cull them and do the titles and everything.
Bill?
Who knows? I might get.
Congdon Lumber, they're on the west end of the Orange branch. Were they on the other side of Park Avenue?
That's Park Avenue.
Were they on the other side of Park Avenue?
They were on the east side of Park Avenue.
And when was that? When did they get their last service? 60s, 70s?
When Conrail abandoned. I have on my website is a database, a timeline. Go look it up. It's all there. I don't want to give you the wrong date. The Liberty Historic Railway website, look under histories, and you'll find all kinds of stuff there. Abandonment notice. I guess this was the end. They replaced it with a bus. The bus lasted month and a half, and nobody rode the bus anymore. This is the type of model of the bus that was used to replace trains on the Orange Branch. This bus is in the Friends of the New Jersey Transportation Heritage Center in their collection of like 35 buses. That's one of them, and it runs. Toward the end, it was a tunnel through the growth west of Bloomfield Avenue. It's all torn up. There's nothing left. I did put together this little collection of badges and whatnot for Erie Railroad people, and a pass for Mr. Smith, 1907. Yeah, a lot of neat stuff. I worked on the Erie, there was an Erie Rail Fan Club. It was superseded by the Erie Lackawanna Historical Society, but at the time I did this, I was promoting the Friends of the New Jersey Railroad and Transportation Museum. That still exists. We are working with them to do something at Phillipsburg. They have very energetic local leaders out there, and there's opportunities to build a car house and actually put a mile of track in between PU Tower and Walters Park, between the Washington line, the Dover line, and the Norfolk Southern Lehigh line. There's a corridor. There's problems because some of the properties are owned by New Jersey Transit, but we did get this past week a nice letter of support from New Jersey Transit, and we're hoping to work with them. We got 10 trolley cars. They got to go someplace, and we're running out of time. I can't put them in my backyard. I got a 1927 yellow coach bus that's going to come out of the shop in 2 weeks, and I'm twisting the arm of Phillipsburg to put it in their DPW garage just to store it for us. I think that's the end.
That was the last one.
It doesn't go any further, so I guess questions.
There was a question that came in online. Where did the Erie Orange branch cross the Montclair branch to Lackawanna?
At Watsessing. Good question. It was originally a grade crossing between the two lines, and no grade crossing can go without at least one collision of the trains on either line crashing into each other. But during the Lackawanna had a lot of money, and they did the depression. They grade separation through Watsessing, and at that time the Lackawanna went down below, and the Erie stayed above. There was never any physical connection between the two lines, although the General Electric plant had a siding from the Erie Railroad on the north end and a siding from the Lackawanna Railroad on the south end during their busy years. When the Montclair branch, the connection was put in and they re-electrified, they needed another couple of feet clearance for the new AC catenary. So they pulled out the Erie Orange Branch bridge and it's gone. There's no, you can't get across the right of way at that point. So that's the story there. Anything else?
No.
Good. We're done early.
I think no controversy.
Right.
Cool.
John, any comments?
Good show.
Huh? No, I mean, you want to say something? I mean, an opportunity to take the mic for a minute or so and tell us how it really was.
But you're the famous guy on TV.
When I was a kid, I used to watch the track gang, and the Erie Railroad had all kinds of switches, and I always had track gangs there. And I'm hanging around, watching them, and one of the guys says, "Hey, kid, go get me some Denoblia cigars." So I went and got them. I was the runner. At the end of the day, my thanks was they said, "Hey, kid, you want to ride?" So they went from Bloomfield Avenue, where they were working, all the way up to Glenwood Avenue in East Orange. There's a little brook called Wigwam Brook, and the guys actually went down in there to wash you off, before they went home. If they only knew how polluted that water was, they would have been better off if they didn't. But I got the ride in the little track car up and down. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
And thank you for doing all the slides.
I appreciate it. I'll get you your slides back next time I see it. Thank you everyone for attending. Lloyd, we have to pull the door prize here. So everyone get their tickets ready. Does anyone not have a ticket? Anyone get a ticket that wants one?
Bill? Good. I'll ask you to, pull the ticket. You wanna pull it up here? Wherever it's good. All right, we have a couple door prizes. Northeast Railroad Scene, Lehigh Valley, Volume 1. Book on the Susquehanna, and John Sabatka donated a nice wooden Delaware American Railroad commemorative pen and paper pen set for the new Y that was put in.
Delaware and Raritan River Railroad.
What did I say?
I don't know. I thought you said.
Delaware and Raritan River Railroad. This is to commemorate the new Y that was put in Monmouth County in Farmingdale.
Farmingdale, right?
Okay, Bill.
Boy, there's not many tickets in here.
It's a big bag.
Not like the old days.
Not like the old days, right? Okay, ending in 097. Okay, good, come on up.
You gotta come up for it, Terrence. We're not delivering it.
We have a couple more. Take your pick. 088. All right, come on down. And one more.
I'll deliver it to you.
095. You want a pen, pen set? Okay, one more. I'll take that pen set. 096. Come on down, Fran.
How many did you buy? 20 tickets?
Okay, thank you, everybody. Yeah, you should.
All right.
Okay, what is your website?
All right, thank you, everybody, for attending. Our next meeting is the second Thursday in January, and we'll see you then. Good night.
Okay.